You are tuned in to the Heathen Movie Channel and what appears to be the most boobylicious horror movie review show on the interweb.
Yeah.
I'm the walking, talking miracle and writer of the greatest horror movie of the past 25 years and the greatest comedy, Live Dumb Rock Harder, of the past 25 years, John Cain. And, yeah, welcome.
That's your introduction.
It's not so much an intro as just facts. I'll make this promise to you, not to you, but, to the people watching. Considering what people seem to like, if we hit 10,000 followers, I'll get my tits out. Right.
All right.
Yeah. Give the people what they want.
Yeah, you'll finally have the format you want, both of us on screen, and John will have his nips out. So.
Yeah, and I'm excited. I want to commend a certain someone, a guy named Chuko, who we've recently become acquainted with in the past 6 weeks or so. What's the name of his channel?
Chuko's Powerhouse Cinema.
Chuko's Powerhouse Cinema. And I quote, he saw an episode of I Know What You Watched Last week, and he said, "I love the conversational style." So I think I'm going to get a poster made up of I Know What You Watched Last week with the quote from Chuko, 5 stars. "I love the conversational style." And thank you for recognising that. But the thing is now, too many people are talking. They want me in front of the lens.
Yeah, they want to see you. They're always like, why is one of you off camera?
I've made one promise.
Does nobody like any mystery anymore?
I'll make a second promise. Once we find a space to get myself in a 2-shot with yourself, my style will be wearing a shirt with at least the top 4 buttons undone, as to reveal the love rug. And if it has more than 4 buttons, then I'll undo more.
Alright, well our audience might be getting a bit too heated for what is actually a horror movie review show.
I tell you what, it's a hell of a thing getting ready for the show, isn't it?
So I think maybe you should leave the talk of
what were we talking about again?
Love rug to another time. And let's get straight into our discussion, our non-planned conversational discussion. We watched another of the Amityville franchise.
Amityville
Awakening. Thank you.
2017.
And then we saw...
And then?
Yeah, what was it? Oh god, I completely blanked. What did we watch second? Oh god,
Messages
yeah, my
deleted.
favourite, Matthew Lillard, Messages Deleted.
Yeah.
As in Matthew Lillard's my favourite, not necessarily the movie, we'll get to that. Then we rounded it off with The Irrefutable Truth About Demons,
yes,
I believe it was called.
What a title.
And I have to make a concession straight away that I only was half watching that because I had something else to do. So I put it on John's shoulders right from the start and said, you have to concentrate. Twice. Yeah, but it wasn't like I was sat down watching the second time either. You never give me warning.
But you've had it on twice.
Well, we'll see how this goes. So
it might have been easier if it was a less confusing movie. So what is your order? Third place to first?
Yeah, I found this one quite difficult to rank.
Because they're all of top quality?
They're all of a sort of equal level.
To be fair, I found it difficult to rank in terms of just quality, but there are things that separated, and that's how I managed to get there. Smaller things.
This is just making it on the spot what I think, and I feel awful saying it, but I think I actually have to put Messages Deleted last. Then
you're a traitor.
The Irrefutable Truth About Demons.
Right.
And then Amityville Awakening. I guess.
We've got a completely different order.
Yeah, well, like I'm not surprised.
In third place, I'm putting Amityville: The Awakening. Mm-hmm. In second place, Messages Deleted, and in top spot, The Irrefutable Truth About Demons.
I really couldn't tell if you loved or hated it. So it was, blind for me going in, because normally I can read quite well how you think and feel.
We'll get started then with my bottom place and your top place.
I guess.
Amityville: The Awakening, brought to us by Dimension and Blumhouse, which once upon a time would have meant something, but long down the crapper.
Yeah, I think what this one surprised me with pleasantly was that there were actually moments of horror. There were moments that were full of tension, and they actually succeeded in that, which we've seen so many films attempt and fail miserably at recently. So that was really refreshing, and possibly why I gave it the top spot, because the story itself and what happens, it was kind of boring, and the acting wasn't great.
It was just a typical copied storyline from other Amityville movies.
Do you know how many films down the line this is? Awakening?
This is number 57. No, but we are far down. I'm not quite sure of the number at this point.
Yeah, and it features a young Bella Thorne.
Yeah, I didn't know who Bella Thorne was. You had to inform me.
Yeah, I'd seen enough headlines about her being some OnlyFans sensation. So that's who I knew her from. So yeah, it was a bit weird watching her in this when she's so young.
We also got Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Is that who plays her mum?
She plays the mother, yeah.
I thought she seemed
star
familiar.
Of your favourite single white female.
And her character was a piece of work for a mum. She was not likeable in the slightest. There's also a little sister, and Bella Thorne's character has a twin brother who is in a coma and has been for a long time. But
the little sister is 7-year-old Juliet.
Yeah, and then the brother in his medical room in the house. Oh yeah, and they've just moved.
The brother's in a coma.
Yeah.
And he's unresponsive. And move him into the Amityville house, and all of a sudden he does become responsive. Before we get into the story or whatever, somewhat, what was the first thing that what really took your attention in this movie?
I feel like you're looking for a specific kind of answer, and I
just want to know if you noticed something that maybe I noticed.
Oh well, nothing's springing to mind. So
probably worded that wrong because there's no way you would have noticed this. But there's a scene. Bella Thorne is laying on her bed, and she's reading a book or something like this. And before this scene, we've already seen shots of a bunch of flies buzzing around and things like this. And
why is this taking so long? Oh my god. And
so the first thing I noticed about this movie, which really woke me up to the movie, was Bella Thorne was laying on her bed reading a book or something like this.
What, because she was in her panties?
She was wearing very short shorts, but that's not what it's about at all. Previous to this, in other scenes, we've been given the buzzing of flies, and we've seen swarms of flies, whatever. And in the opening of this scene, we just see Bella laying on the bed, and there's this quick, sharp noise of what is supposed to be a fly buzzing around, but I mistook it for a fart, and I thought that Bella Thorne was just sitting around on her bed, and all of a sudden the director had her let rip just on the bed. Now they should have gone with a different opening fly sound to establish without question that's what it was, rather than go for one that had me question if our lead actress had just guffed.
I mean, kudos for something original, and especially if they'd done it not in a scary movie joke kind of way, but just in a completely natural, she's alone in her bedroom, maybe she's a bit gassy. It would have been hilarious.
Realism.
Exactly. Embrace nature.
So yeah, that was the big standout for me in this movie.
That certainly didn't occur to me.
Did Belle just fart? And that's the name of Bella's character, Belle.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got her brother in a coma, moved into the Amityville house.
And clearly for quite a while. I know they did mention at some point, maybe when, but it's because his body is completely lost all its mass.
Belle had made some home videos of a boyfriend, and he released them on the internet. So her brother confronted the guy who'd released them, and then he ended up falling out of a window apparently, and doing a lot of damage to himself. So he's bedridden. At the same time, Belle has just joined a new school. And because she lives in the Amityville house, some dude latches onto her because he's obsessed with the Amityville legend. And in Amityville: The Awakening, the other movies they're fiction.
Oh,
so
God,
this
yeah,
movie's in the real world because...
They did, like, product placement of their own previous movies. He brought out, like, the original and, like, the remake and the sequel. It was, yeah.
Yeah, the guy's name is Terrence. And he seems seemingly obsessed with the Amityville house and the movies, and like you just said, he literally holds up the DVD to the camera.
And he makes Belle and a third friend of theirs, a girl. Let's all watch it in the Amityville house.
Marissa, yeah, because he says they finally relent to him. Okay, we'll watch this movie, and she suggests, let's watch it in your house. He's like, no way. How often do you get to watch the Amityville horror in the actual Amityville house? So they go there. And he's got another concession. He must watch it at 3:15 because that's when the house comes alive. So all this stuff from the previous movies. As I mentioned at the beginning of this, Belle's just moved to a new school.
Yeah.
And surprise, surprise, she's being bullied. And the way they bully her is, on her locker, they draw a picture of the Amityville house. And I was thinking to myself, this isn't exactly, Carrie, is it?
I mean, I would be just so hurt if someone drew a house on my locker.
Bullying just isn't what it used to be.
Well, the first thing they try and bully her about is just because she turns up with dark lipstick on. But I don't think if Bella Thorne, looking the way she does, turned up at some regular American, like, high school, that anyone would be bullying her. It's just not realistic. She'd be the new Queen Bee straight away.
Well, at least she'd made friends with Terrence, although when Terrence introduces Belle to, I think his other friend is Marissa, he says, oh, Marissa, this is my friend Belle. She's like, no, I'm not your friend. And then Marissa also says, I'm not your friend either, so... Yeah, they're hating on him for some reason, even though they're still hanging around with him. They end up going to watch the movie though, and he gives them options. He's like, do you want to watch Amityville 2 or the remake?
Literally just, okay, this is why you cannot have like 5 cocktails before we film, Johnny. This is why. I just said all this. And I can't help myself but laughing because you keep putting these massive long pauses in, and I don't know if you're aware of it.
I'm aware of the pauses. I've just got so much to get through.
Well, anyone watching, if that's not your sign to pour yourself a drink, then I don't know what is.
The two girls have already mentioned that they're not his friend. They're not friends with Terrence. So maybe Terrence takes us in a different way. He's like, yeah, we're not friends because you clearly want me.
No, well, they're both... I guess you'd call them like alternative girls or something who seem to thrive off pretending that they don't like anyone or anything. So I think it's clear to him and everyone that it's kind of a like...
Just to reiterate,
half-hearted,
Terrence shows the girls a DVD of Amityville 2 and the remake. So I made that clear. And both the girls say, oh no, remakes suck.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember watching the remake of the Amityville. I'm not a fan of the original, like a lot of people seem to not be. It wasn't great. And I remember not really loving the remake either. I only watched it once. And they go at it in this one. And I was thinking, I don't really remember the remake, but it's possibly better than this. So once again, you've got like a director or writer, whoever, studio, rinsing another movie.
To me, that was kind of a theme throughout the films this week as well, was just going for a very kind of like double entendre with that, not like a sexual way, but they're trying to do something smart in these scripts. And it's just, if you miss, it's so uncomfortable.
All they did in this film was borrow from other Amityville movies. Remember, there was a slight incest bit where Jason Leigh is down in the basement at the bedside of her son, who is bedridden.
Yeah.
And her daughter, Belle, comes down the stairs and she's looking at them, and Jason Leigh is naked and she's being caressed by her son's weird demon-like hand. And Jason Leigh looks back and it just carries on, because there's been an incest theme in previous Amityville movies, beginning with the second one, if I remember correctly. We've reviewed other ones on here where they had the same kind of thing going on. It's weird that they left that in there, and what we watched was a PG-13 cut, because apparently there's like about 9 to, let's say, 13 minutes, which would have made it R-rated, more gore, more this, that and the other, and it all got cut. And this film was, it was finished about 2 to 4 years before it eventually came out, because they were worrying about, oh my god, this is Amityville number 57. If we don't get it right, it's going to ruin the whole thing. I was like, it's Amityville number whatever. Just release it, and release it with an R rating as well, 18 rating.
Yeah, I feel like there was nothing.
I love that they went in. This is the PG-13 cut, but we're just going to leave the incest bit in there. That's got to be the most taboo thing.
I feel like from the start it was pretty clear where the story was going, and there wasn't really any aspect at any point that surprised me, from the build up to the big crescendo at the end, or what. It was very expected, and as I said earlier, the performances weren't exactly blow away either. I just gave this top spot because, like I said, it was refreshing to finally have something that actually had the creep factor at certain moments. But beyond that, I personally don't have much to say, so I'm assuming you've got a lot.
In this movie was a bit of a dud, and I was expecting it to be. Because it's never going to be Amityville Was About Time, the greatest in the entire series. But we do get Dr. Kurtwood Smith. Do you recognise the Doctor in this?
I don't think so.
Do you remember
I recognise
the
female nurse character whose relationship with family I didn't quite understand.
Do you recall the Doctor?
But no, I have no idea.
He had specs on, and he was balding. Jesus! He's the one and only Kurtwood, aka Clarence Bodiger from RoboCop.
Oh, right.
Cops don't like me, so I don't like cops.
It whilst we were watching, actually.
I didn't mention it.
Because you said it was weird because he looked so different.
I didn't say anything about him.
I'm sure you said that. Where have I got that from then?
You just made it up out of thin air. You remember he pulls back the bedridden guy, and his back is all being taken apart by maggots and infestation, all this kind of thing, and the swarm of flies go into Dr. Kurtwood Smith's mouth. But it's all just a vision, because everything is a vision in this. How many dream sequences do we get? I enjoy a dream sequence, I enjoy a vision, but it was almost like it was dream sequence, vision, scene. Dream sequence, vision, scene. So you knew every single time when you were seeing something interesting that, this isn't actually real, because nothing's been real yet. It's all just a dream.
Yeah, I guess it was just the every night 3:15, right? And it got increasingly...
So at one point in this movie, Jennifer Jason Leigh's character, the mother, she said that she's lost faith in God, things like this, and that's the reason that she brought the family to the Amityville house, because she'd heard that it was possessed, and this was kind of the last resort for getting her son to come back to life, and it starts to work because he does become possessed by the house. And you get the kind of creepy moments where the little 7-year-old sister keeps saying, oh yeah, I've been talking to my brother and all that, and she'll just mention something to Belle like, oh, why doesn't Mummy love you anymore? And she was like, who told you that? And all of a sudden, like, the bed will start beeping in the background, and they go and check on, bedridden guy. But he essentially just turns into Ronald DeFeo from the first one, because he starts stalking his family with a shotgun. But what I didn't quite get was, I don't know if I missed a build up to it, but just the way to stop the evil was just take him a little bit out on the lawn.
No, you did. You must have missed something, because they did say there was like some...
No, I did get this tiny backstory,
circle.
But just the fact that it's just shaved into the lawn.
Yeah, but then they kept referring to it. I thought it was
to
pretty obvious that that's how they were going to defeat him. I was like, well, obviously she's just going to get him to go outside the boundary, and that'll be that. Like I said, there was no surprise in this. I found it really bizarre as well.
What a bizarre way to end your movie.
When he was fully taken over, before he starts walking around with the shotgun, they have his body transform, because he's been bedridden, so he's lost all his, body mass, essentially, and he's quite twisted up and stuff. So
that stuff was
muscle
quite good.
him out. Yeah,
they had some good shots of him
really
laying in the bed, comatose.
Yeah, it was very disconcerting.
And what it jogged my memory, and just all demons, all possessed people, just don't seem to want to use chapstick. Because if you're possessed, you've always got crusty lips.
Yeah.
So maybe demons are...
His mum's slacking a bit. I'm sure she could put some chapstick on him at least. But anyway, so he gets like muscled out in this thing, and I just found that really bizarre. I thought it would have been better and creepier if, you have to like untwist him and have to be able to make him, be able to walk. But if he'd stayed super skinny and stuff and still had this unnatural strength, I thought that would have been way better.
The guy that plays the bedridden dude, as I said, this movie took a long time to come out, and in between, obviously, he started having reshoots, so his body shape changes throughout the movie, and that's just due to real life. It's not supposed to have actual makeup effects. So if you see him looking different at certain points, it's because, we called you back like a year and a half later to reshoot some of these scenes to go other ones.
Yeah. You
also pointed out to me, for once, because that's normally me pointing out things to you, that we had Urban Legend's Final Cut girl in this.
Yeah. Someone finally I recognised and you didn't at first.
Hugely underrated slasher movie. The second one in the series.
Yeah, and she actually was not a bad performance. And obviously your favourite wasn't a bad performance.
I don't think there
The
were
Mum
any
wasn't
bad
a bad performance. I mean, it's lucky Bella found something else because I don't really think she's a natural born actress.
Is this not her day job now then?
I have no idea. But, I mean, apparently...
So is she like one of those influencers that just, oh yeah, because I'm an influencer, I'm just going to be
I don't know much
now.
about her. I just, from, like, some headlines, I'd garnered that about her. So when I didn't even know she was an actress until this.
Yeah.
So...
Well, that had enough of this movie.
Yeah.
But the last thing I'd like to mention is the music is by Rob. Much like Madonna, he just goes by one name, Rob. So thank you, Rob, for the music.
Rob.
Music by Rob. Nummer 2.
Yeah, he's...
Messages deleted.
Number 2, messages deleted. Oh. I wanted to love this movie so much because when I saw Matthew Lillard's name come up in the credits, I was ecstatic. I love me a bit of Matthew Lillard.
That's pretty much the whole reason I put it at number 2 above Amityville.
Yeah.
They're both about the same quality.
I couldn't forgive it for the flaws around him. He did nothing wrong. I can't hate on Matthew, he didn't do anything wrong, but the story was trying so hard, again, to be way deeper than they actually managed to pull off.
The story is pretty much that Matthew Lillard is a lecturer on screenwriting.
He's an aspiring screenwriter.
Yeah,
and
he teaches it.
Yeah, and he's a teacher.
And he gets messages left for him on his answer phone when he comes home from people just before they're about to be murdered, and they're pleading with him to show up as to where they are. And obviously he doesn't know why he's getting these calls.
Yeah, they're from strangers to him, complete strangers as well, should be pre-mentioned.
Or is it?
Yeah. They are. That's not one of the twists they went for.
I don't know.
Although, to be honest, I'm pretty sure at the end of this one there was a scene that was supposed to be some kind of big twist ending that I don't really understand what it was supposed to mean for what we'd already watched.
I'm not sure what much this movie was about. I mean, I know it was about on a basic level, but how they went about it was a bit choppy.
Yeah.
To say the
and
least.
There wasn't exactly much choice when you're watching a movie like this and you're trying to work out who's doing it. There were only 2 options. It was his mate or his student.
Yeah, I'd actually written in the notes, it's her script.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty
Midway
obvious
through
as
it,
well. Yeah. And they tried to make the friend into a red herring with that. Maybe he just likes a good script kind of sequence thing. So, yeah, it turns out that this student was a student of Matthew Lillard's previously and had sent him her script for, like, notes. He essentially plagiarised her story, but wrote it really badly, apparently, as well. Apparently this guy sucks as a writer, from all reports. And, yeah, he did manage to sell that story, though, I believe, didn't he? And she's obviously pissed off, and she starts killing people as per the story from the script, so, yeah.
Matthew Lillard his character being a screenwriter, the writer of this movie, it seems like at some point in his life he's had bad coverage about his scripts, because he has, I think, Matthew Lillard say, coverage is just from some pizza delivery guy judging your work. He has no respect for it. Maybe he's right.
Well, again, I mean, there was this whole theme throughout...
Not about this script. If this got coverage, I'd be like...
There was a whole theme
Sort it out.
throughout this of like a write what you know, because obviously, as you said, he's a lecturer at the same time as being an aspiring scriptwriter. So you see a lot of his notes to his students. So this is someone... It was so clear to me, I'd be surprised if this isn't the case, that the writer of this story himself is Matthew Lillard's character, without all the deaths going on around him, and maybe without the plagiarisation, but I'm sure he is like an aspiring writer, and he's kind of done a bit tongue-in-cheek that Matthew actually sucks, because he's like, well, I don't actually suck, I'm really good, but I still haven't. But he's managed to, sell this one, so...
There are lessons to be learnt in the script as well. You have to have something by page 10 in your aspiring script, and a movie is only as good as its villain. And this movie proves that.
Yeah, it kind of sucked.
Someone's got a real thing for Chinese food as well, because Matthew Lillard's character, he goes out for Chinese, he orders Chinese in. There's a whole fortune cookie strip of paper stuffed into a victim's mouth. You take it out, have a look at it.
Mm-hmm. I also found it really bizarre the way that the student, right at the beginning, when you see his first lecture or whatever, and she's like, the way that they talk to each other is really bizarre to me. He will like, he's criticising some of her work, then she replies back and he gives an explanation to why, and then she literally at one point went, ooh, swoon.
Yeah.
I was like, oh God, no. This is your student, Mr. Lillard.
Whether those are his lines or not, this is written by a guy called Larry Cohen, who's known for, amongst other things, Maniac Cop and Phone Booth. Phone Booth with Colin Farrell. In Message Deleted, Matthew Lillard's out on the street and the phone booth starts ringing.
Yeah.
And before he answered it, in my head I went, a ringing phone always has to be answered, doesn't it? From Phone Booth. Without knowing that he'd written that. And then, of course, Matthew Lillard goes and answers the phone.
Yeah.
This is not his... This is apparently his last piece of work before he passed, but not his best.
No. It didn't hit... The idea of it's not bad, actually. Again, we've had a lot of these recently where the concept is quite sound and could have been done really well, and they had a decent cast to put it together, but
has a slightly self-aware thing to it.
Yeah, it's way too...
They have Matthew Lillard on the phone having a conversation, much like Jamie Kennedy has a conversation as Randy in Scream 2 when he's in the park on the phone with the killer. It's just things I thought they made Matthew Lillard do just because, you're in Scream, man, so it's all, it's all connect up.
And it just wasn't smart enough to pull it off. You have to, if you're going to have some sort of twist like this, and you have to at least not have people guess straight away who the killer is.
The student who ends up being the killer, she's in Matthew Lillard's class and she seems to have some kind of... She plays like she has a crush on him.
Yeah, as I said, their interaction
and
is weird.
She has a scene... They must go to her apartment because Matthew Lillard uncovers some guns and condoms and she says... Guns and condoms. A girl always has to be prepared. And they're hidden underneath her panties, and for some reason Matthew Lillard's looking through those. Why was he looking through those?
She told him to.
She told him to?
Yeah.
It's got to do as he says.
Well, she was like, look in the drawer. He opens it, sees a bunch of panties, and then she's like, under the panties. So he has to root and get the gun out.
And of course, when she takes him out at the end, or, beats him up a little bit, it's revealed that, she's taken Krav Maga her entire life. And she did some time in juvie, so she's a bad girl.
And this little actress is so tiny.
It's always the tiniest ones, much like Prey. The little one takes down the predator.
Stick skinny and very short. I was like, I'm sure martial arts can do something, but I'm not buying that that's that's the case in this situation. And yeah, it wasn't the like twist that they always try and make into some big gasp moment. It fell so flat, and it's like, well, you failed as a writer and a filmmaker here in a way, because if you can't make the climax into an actual exciting moment, what's the point of the film?
Yeah. Matthew Lillard was more than watchable as ever. Very good, just not our favourite of his.
No, the character wasn't that likeable in a way. Matthew Lillard still managed to make him fine, but there was something about him. Well, yeah, he plagiarised his student's script, he's flirting with them. He's not a bad guy, but he's not exactly a shining example.
He's not a bad guy, yeah, but he's done some shady things, and you've gone on about the confusing ending. Well, not so much confusing possibly, but he's in jail.
Yes.
He's in the orange jumpsuit and he's got a meeting with what looks like it's his lawyer. Yeah,
it's his agent.
Yeah. Because he says, we're going to get between 7 and 9. And Matthew was like, is that the best we can do? And he was like, yeah, I'll take the deal. So at this point, you've led to believe that's his lawyer saying he's going to get to 790 years in prison. But no, he's managed to sell his script outside for between $700,000 and $900,000. And he's pretty happy with this, but I still didn't get it.
Well, I wasn't sure, because there are a few different possible answers, I guess. I don't know if they're insinuating that what we've just watched is his, script, or if that is all true, but then he's written a film about it. But, I don't really understand, because the agent mentions something about the girl character. How did you come up with that character? That character's great.
What you know.
And he was like, oh, you know, it was basically just me.
Yeah, I was getting the feel of...
So is he saying
of the
that
end of
he's
identity
a
at this point.
murderer? Or... I don't know. And then because they also, like, the agent was like, I'm your agent, not your lawyer. I don't know about your case.
Exactly. He doesn't seem to know who anybody is.
So, yeah, it was, like I said, a very confusing. I was like, again, if you're going to have a twist, can you please make it, like, not... Wait, what?
Well, unless they filmed the twist scene first... After filming what's already come before it, you thought, I'll give up on the twist ending because we haven't got anything in the can that's any good anyway.
Well, I'm sure they don't think that. I don't think most filmmakers pumping out this crap are actually thinking, wow, this is crap.
It was a lower budget movie, less than $1 million.
That was also a bit harsh. I wouldn't say this movie was crap.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't awful. It was just, again, a bit just whatever.
I was just disappointed because I was hoping it would be better.
I wasn't hating it. Not close. But also it was...
Well, it's almost made me want to watch it again just because I feel like it's one of those, unlike certain films, I've mentioned it before, but Fight Club again, with that actual pulling off this crazy twist, is that when you watch it back...
Who did it better, Message Deleted or Fight Club?
Knowing what the twist is, I absolutely love looking for the little clues that you would miss unless you know. And I feel like if we did the same for this film, there would be glaring, like... omissions in the plot and story or what they say and do. It didn't sell it.
Well, considering that and it seems that you guessed who the killer was less than halfway through the movie, I don't think I need to watch back for clues. I've worked it out before it even begun to finish.
No, but of this twist in jail thing that we don't understand about.
So just so there are clues for that?
I don't know. Surely there must be. I'm just saying, if we don't understand what the hell that ending is, surely there is some sort of explanation in there somewhere.
Maybe giving it too much credit. Talking of endings that just confused and made no sense to me. Number 1. My number 1. What was this, your number for you?
2?
The Irrefutable Truth About Demons, starring Karl Urban.
Okay, so this was the one I wasn't really concentrating, but I was still trying to watch bits here and there, and this was the third one we saw in the week. Within the first, 5 minutes or something, I was thinking, well, actually, I'm really sorry. I was thinking, thank God for the Aussies, and Johnny quickly corrected me. So thank God for the Kiwis, because I was like, this looks like it's going to blow the other two out of the water.
This was brought to us by the New Zealand Film Commission. And kudos to them.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that, the British Film Commission
no way that would happen here.
Would release anything like this. This is a very peculiar
movie.
movie.
The US, yeah. Yeah, and I also I thought I recognised Carl, you said.
Karl Urban, yes.
Not Keith.
Keith Urban is the
Nicole Kidman
cowboy hat wearing,
singing,
guitar playing country boy.
Anyway, I recognised him and I knew he was from...
This was Nicole Kidman, right?
Yeah, that's what I just said. Yeah. Again, I just said that, John, so...
Well, my mind was just set on the big hat.
So I recognised Karl Urban, but I got it slightly wrong because I thought
said he was in The Hobbit.
I thought he was one of the dwarves.
Dwarves?
Yeah, that take him through his quest or whatever in The Hobbit.
How can Karl Urban be a dwarf?
How can he? Why not?
Well, I imagine he's 6 foot tall for one thing.
Yeah, the tallest actor in the main 6 was the shortest on-camera character. It's the movies, John, They can do that kind of thing. They're all played by just regular people.
I still wouldn't have thought, oh yeah, I need to cast a dwarf. Let's get Karl Urban in.
Well, he's, local to the first bits. Anyway, it turns out he's not from that. He's actually a smaller role in the actual trilogy. So I should have known that, really.
How do you pronounce his name?
Éomer.
Éomer, okay. He's also, more importantly, Judge Dredd in the Judge Dredd 3D. He's not Sylvester Stallone Judge Dredd. He's the newer Judge Dredd. And it's the only movie that I've ever seen in cinema 3D, because I had no other choice but to see it in 3D. But I actually used the medium pretty well. The movie was really good, but it flopped hardcore in terms of financial. So he's been in some really good stuff, but never taken off.
What are you talking about? He's the lead in The Irrefutable Truth About Demons.
Well, this is a start for him. Yeah.
I'll give it this. It really went all out with... I'm assuming it looked quite lower budget.
It said 500,000. So yeah.
Okay, yeah. And they really put that into what they considered to be the most important thing. So they had a clear artistic look to everyone's style, and they went, yeah, I think they did a really good job with that. And that's why I said at the beginning, I was like, thank God we've got something good to round off the week.
Yeah,
but
there's a lot I admired about this movie. It wasn't executed in every single section. Is the only thing.
That's the shame. It kind of fell off enough in certain aspects.
If they had this kind of storyline and executed it to perfection, it would be unbelievable, I think. Carl Urban's character plays an anthropologist, and he also investigates cults and
religious
cults. And him and his best mate Johnny, they come across this videotape and they pop it in, and they see this Anton LaVey type character who's doing like a satanic sermon, getting really rowdy.
So funny.
And he happens to mention Carl Urban's character's name in the sermon.
Yeah.
And towards the end of the video, when everyone's going a bit mental, we see like this pierced man who looks like a demon in leather pants, just loving life at the side of the stage, going buck wild.
Oh, these like demon followers, whatever they are, they seem to be just having a whale of a time.
The first thing that came into my head was when I saw the baldy guy with the funny facial hair. Immediately I thought, oh, this is based on Anton LaVey. And it turns out later on his name is like Le Valiant, I believe.
Right, yeah.
So it's clearly completely stolen. There's other things that are, I don't want to say stolen, but they've gone for that, off-kilter vibe with the movie. Dare I say Lynchian, to the point where they even mention the place being called the Black Lodge, which is directly out of Twin Peaks.
There was also a lot. I also commend the commitment of the actors.
Well, just after we've seen the video of Mr. LaVey, fake Mr. LaVey, Carl Urban's going back to his apartment block, and out of nowhere he's kind of ambushed in a non-threatening way by what seems to be a neighbour. And
the woman.
Yeah, the woman. Mm-hmm. And she's being very over the top, saying, "Did you get the video? I had to protect it for you."
She reminds me of a character that Helena Bonham Carter's done. I forget now which.
Well, that's quite high. What? Maybe from Fight Club again.
Fight Club,
yeah,
isn't it? Yeah.
It's in your brain now.
Not in the way that she was. I just mean the character seemed like it similar to that sort.
This dotty neighbour lady character is starting to warn Carl Urban about his cult, and before she walks off, she says to him, "Take this. It'll protect you. But have it near your penis," and gives him like this note and says he has to keep this note next to his penis for no reason whatsoever.
And the note, he opens it and it just says, "I feel hot." I
feel hot, yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand that bit. I didn't understand it when I was half watching the first time.
No.
Didn't understand it the second time.
The next time we see Carl Urban, pretty much, he's been on the phone, some nice gothic background when he's having a conversation, and he gets to his car, and he's kneeling down to his tyre, and this guy comes out of nowhere and is like, "Hello, slave," and he's ambushed by what I describe as futuristic goths.
So these are the guys I was talking about that, bless them for their commitment to it, because I doubt any of them were given a big salary, and they've been, transformed with dyed and spiked and piercings. And
it looked very much like where I've mentioned they went for a kind of Lynchian thing. It's also, this is very Clive Barker, especially Lord of the Illusions. There's a gang in Lord of the Illusions, which it seems like this guy's watched Lord of the Illusions and just based his gang on this. A lot of the people that
it also had that 80s dystopian thing to it, the way they looked.
The way they looked, and it was more 2000, like Y2K look. Because she had the spiky hair with the bleach in it and things like this. And
they take him back to some place where he notices in other rooms people are being tortured and killed.
In a place called the Clinic.
Right.
And we see someone kind of butchered behind those
like a
long screen slabs. But then he escapes
quite easily.
Yeah, he manages to pull the chain out of the ground.
He pulls the whole bloody floorboards up because it's so old and rickety.
And one of the futuristic goth gang with red hair, who was really hamming it up, he chases after him. And another guy who was bald, I
have to just pause you for 1 second and go back to the bald one, but the redhead one, when he sticks his head down through the hole and sees the guy, Carl, like, crawling away through the crawl space, and when he's shouting at him about, like, "Oh, slave, you're getting away," it was so committed and over the top that it made me laugh, but not in a bad way.
No.
Just in a, like, I love what I'm seeing because it's so...
There are quite a lot of people who got roles in this movie who haven't acted since, say, 2011 or 2001, whatever. So
Yeah, it was good.
He ends up, after escaping,
Mm-hmm.
he ends up in a really well-to-do restaurant, and he walks through with he's topless and he's got this chain around his neck and he's bleeding.
He's all battered and dirty.
And all the waiters are going towards him saying, "Sir, sorry, you're in the wrong place," kind of thing. But he ends up at a table with his girlfriend.
Yeah, who I think she's a lawyer.
And he passes out. And then just before he goes unconscious, he looks over and the Anton LaVey character is also sitting in the restaurant, stroking his glass. Yeah, it's looking very threatening.
We also, so this girlfriend of his, the lawyer lady, we see her death twice, and both times, if I've understood correctly, it was a fake. I'm still not entirely sure what was going on. So.
Or was it a vision? Because he was on drugs, then, remember?
Yeah, but was that actually what was happening, though?
There's a whole bunch of ways you can interpret this movie.
But anyway, those two deaths, you know, both of those moments were done really well, I think. There's one where she's pushed in his face in the bath.
Yeah, he's sitting in the bathtub and he puts a flannel over his face. But all these drips of blood start coming onto the white flannel. He takes it off and, the futuristic goths are holding his girlfriend with a slit throat. Yeah. And then he seems to wake up from that because in the vision he drowns.
Him, and then,
then he wakes up at the bathtub. He goes walking around in his apartment. And if you remember, he had the candle out in front of him. Mm-hmm. And what it reminded me of straight away was me filming myself as Josh in the Heathen short movie upstairs because you were somewhere else filming some movie or whatever. And I had to do all the shots by myself walking through this like cave with a very small light. And I was like, I had to do that by myself. This guy had all his help and no one's almost as good as this. And then, he comes across his girlfriend again. She's like crucified, isn't she? She's hung up.
Yes,
with her throat slit still.
Up quite high.
And at this point, I believe she actually is dead. It seems, because it doesn't show that this is a vision again.
It doesn't straight away, but then obviously it doesn't take very long before she's back in the film, so... And when she's not dead, she's having sexual relations with this Valiant character.
Yeah.
And then, there is a whole thing, so obviously Karl Urban's life is like falling apart. And he's having all these visions, people are actually dying and whatnot. And I don't know what's real. I don't think he knows what's real. And then he has a confrontation with his lawyer girlfriend at one point when he, quite towards the end. And this is when she brings out what you just mentioned. It's like drug paraphernalia. Right? And I wasn't sure if that was just another twist, like she's just trying to cover again for the truth, which is what he thought was real, and now she's tricking him again into thinking that it was all like drug induced. Oh, and another core element to this, I think, probably that we haven't even mentioned, is that he had a brother
who committed suicide,
who offed himself. And he seems to be a bit obsessed with I don't know what exactly, but the lawyer girlfriend accuses him of being like obsessed with the death of his brother or something, and his brother seems to have been mixed up with drugs and maybe cults or whatever.
This cult that are coming after him, I think that's what's implied, or maybe even mentioned.
And then, now I'm going to go right to the end, because the reason I brought the brother up is because another bit that I didn't understand whether it was like what the twist was supposed to be. The brother was called like Harry or something, or he's called Harry.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Karl Urban is Harry.
Okay, so Harry, and let's say the brother's like Richard or something.
Richard.
And I'm pretty sure, right towards the end, when they're questioning Harry, they call him Richard. So are they suggesting then that it's all in Richard's mind? I don't know. Did you have any idea what was going on at the end of this movie?
I think Karl Urban, aka Harry, his brother is called Lawrence.
Lawrence, not Richard.
Possibly. No one's got a photo.
But because how does this end exactly? He's being interviewed, right? Karl Urban's character.
In jail.
In jail, yeah. And like I said, do the detectives not call him by his brother's name at some point? Or did I just not?
If you did, I didn't catch on to that.
So how do you think this ended then?
Well, I don't know about how it ended, because it was unclear. I don't understand what the ending was whatsoever, because it shows Cole Urban and his crazy neighbour in some institute.
Oh, yeah.
And he's holding like a cockroach or something like this, and cockroaches are quite prevalent in the movie. Mm-hmm. Actually, Cole Urban actually has a bunch of cockroaches poured into his face and into his mouth.
He's had them in his mouth. Oh.
Yeah. So he's holding this cockroach in his institute, and he says, "It tells ancient stories and sings beautiful songs of love. Listen." And he holds up the cockroach to his neighbour's ear, and then the camera pans away. And that's that, pretty much.
That's after he brings it back to life, though. I thought that's what you were going to bring up, not the...
He does bring the cockroach back to life, but I'm just more baffled as to what the dialogue was. What does that mean?
But I thought that... No. I think it's more important that he brings the beetle back to life, because that proves that there must be something to this. Because if he's got some kind of power... Because they kept talking about him having some power...
Magic and all that, I know, yeah.
So that, to me, was saying, well, then maybe they're trying to...
But what is that dialogue about a cockroach?
I don't know, but it's obviously significant that he's brought something back to life.
It also turns out that the crazy girl, Bene, or whatever her name is Benny, Anton Leviathan's, Anton LaVey's daughter.
Right, yeah, okay. I don't know. I don't know what was going on, but yeah, this one gets just a thumbs up for a lot of great ideas, a lot of commitment.
The best friend, Johnny, Cole Urban's best friend.
Well, the guy who's always smoking weed.
Yeah.
He seemed a bit like they didn't seem like the same age, to be honest.
Cole Urban shows up at a motel because he can't stay at his own place because the police are after him. So he calls his best friend Johnny, and I don't know where Johnny is. He just seems to be standing in some dank alleyway, smoking a jazz cigarette. And on the other end of the line, Cole Urban is all frantic, saying, "You've got to turn up here. You've got to help me." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm your guy, man," just puffing away. And he says, "I'm in room 12. He's like, "Room 12? Sweet." Then he puts the phone down. He's like, "Yeah, I'll get to the Batmobile."
Yeah, he was quite a character.
When he turns up to go and help Cole Urban then sleeps the night in the motel, but he's hearing all of these sexual sounds coming from above. And the ceiling cracks in. Was
that not the one, though, where it goes from being sexual sounds into, like, sounding
just torturous sounds? Yeah. Pretty good. It was a nice journey from the beginning of the sound to the end of the sound, from hardcore pleasure to raw violence. There was a lot I enjoyed about this. It's more of like the lynching attempt, it's just out there. The Clive Barker Lord of Illusion style gang and all this. I enjoyed all those things.
And the lack of pretension.
But considering that whether she's alive or not, in the movie, Carl Urban believes that his girlfriend has died, and he's talking in the bar with his neighbour about this. She's like, "Oh, my girlfriend has just died," and da 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 da. He rises to a crescendo about how frustrating his life is at this point. Then they get into the car, and the neighbour makes a kind of joke to him by putting on a pair of sunglasses and looks to him. He starts laughing, and then the next thing you know, they're having sex. So 1 minute he's like in despair that his girlfriend has been offed.
I clearly wasn't paying attention for this bit.
And then he just decides, "I'll forget about that. I'm just going to come with this lady who decided to tell me to keep this note by my penis for some reason." We see her standing in the alleyway holding a sparkler. She goes crazy with a sparkler.
She does that
then we see her later on, she's holding a sparkler. The crazy neighbour and Carl Urban, there's a scene they share on the bus. And she's trying to explain things to him, and it's almost like she has Tourette syndrome. The reason they're doing it now is because of the winter solstice! Don't you know that it's the longest day of the year?
Okay, I seem to remember laughing at a bit because I could just hear her, like, shouting at him really randomly in a non-angry way. So that must be what you're talking about.
Yeah, that does happen later on after the bus.
Yeah, well, she's just a bizarre character. And yeah, she's really hamming it up as well. Completely going for it. And they've done her up all, like, mental looking as well, with just glitter all over her face and whatnot. But I think it's supposed to be aiding the idea of, like, is this real or an illusion,
Some of the cool bits, Carl Urban and Crazy Lady, they go to a building to go and get Anton LaVey, fake Anton LaVey, and he's at an altar and he's covered in blood and there's puddles of blood all over the floor. And then Carl Urban kills a goth and LaVey squeezes a heart that he has previously taken out of Carl Urban's chest. So Carl Urban, at the end of the movie, is walking around, running around, in search of Anton LaVey, without his heart.
Well, no,
Anton LaVey
because
has
that was the big twist. Because we saw LaVey dig, which I thought was quite cool, dig his hand into the chest and take out the heart and all this. And when he's showing the heart and stuff, he's like, well, now the demons or whatever are going to come for you because I've got your heart to give them.
But they kill him instead,
But then Carl Urban opens his chest up and reveals that he has a heart in there. Did you miss that?
No, I got that.
So he's got a heart.
But still, when he's squeezing it, it's still causing him pain.
Yeah, or maybe he's faking.
Because he's been donated another heart by some other character. I was hoping you were going to remember it straight off your head then and say who it was. So Benny's given up her heart.
She actually went through with that. Oh, I thought he managed to stop her, and then I thought he'd like regrown one or something. That was his special power. I don't know.
Where did you get that he'd regrown it?
Well, I thought I got the bit of Benny being like, "Oh, I'll give you my heart," but then I thought he would just like stopped her because surely that would kill her then. But whatever.
It turns out that Anton LaVey, being Benny's dad, he apparently just has cancer, but Benny sees it as a demon. There's a whole quote at the beginning of the movie from her about saying, demons aren't real, they're just, you see metaphors in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out that Mr. LaVey is not some satanic leader cult guy, although he is. He's more that he's just got cancer, and she sees it as demons. It's just a whole other thing of there's other things that I could mention, there's little side stories, which didn't really get taken care of.
It's a lot of ideas put into it. Maybe a bit too many to keep up with it. But like I said, I was expecting you to lead this one since I only half concentrated.
Well, I watched it twice, and I'm still not sure what's going on. There's still so much to take from this, so much to work out. It doesn't help that we're currently watching Twin Peaks as well, which you've got to concentrate on, and now I've got to watch this movie, which is even more confusing.
Oh, I think the cat's just sharted. Should we wrap it up on that, or have you got something else vital to say before the stank hits? Yes, I hear you.
There's still loads, but it's not going to go
Worth
through it.
mentioning.
Demons are metaphors of fears of guilt, that's what it says. Takes his heart. The dead brother who's been seen in a couple of visions, he pops at the end. He's the last thing we see. He kills off Carl Urban's girlfriend / satanic leader / lawyer.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I must have missed that, or just not understood what was happening.
Yeah, that's the literal ending. She's sitting in her car, and in her rearview mirror, she sees Carl Urban's brother, deceased brother, all pale faced with these very sharp teeth, and he grins at her, and it ends.
Right. Okay.
Almost like he's getting his revenge because she says to Carl Urban before she leaves interrogation that she's killed him.
Right. Okay. Yes, it's confusing.
So the movie made no sense. This review made no sense. Nothing makes sense in the Irrefutable Truth About Demons. So all I can say is respect to them. Kudos, because I am baffled.
Yeah,
And
enjoyably baffled.
I love the peculiar. I love weird stuff. This is weird. This is straight weird. A lot of stuff doesn't work. A lot of stuff does work. Brilliant.
So yeah, I think
on
IMDb now it's just called Truth About Demons. So check it
What?
out.
So not the Irrefutable Truth?
That's a sub previously called, and now it's just Truth About Demons. So check it out if you want to watch some Kiwi gothic horror punkian thing.
The guy that plays Anton LaVey looks a little bit like Sir Ben Kingsley with a stuck-on satanic goatee. And his chops are up there as well. When Carl Urban has still got a girlfriend before she's make-believe dead or real dead, who knows, he goes to the crazy girl's apartment and she starts to, caress him with his top off. But then she really goes in for the nipple squeeze and just starts caressing his nipples quite violently.
I don't remember that. I just remember her...
You must remember, because she was walking around in like this PVC bra.
Yeah, but she inspected his body to find this like rash of a cross upside down, which she found. And
that's
wasn't
just
on
her
his nipples.
excuse to do her sick nipple twisting. I don't think he liked it very much. Considering that they do end up in the sack together, she clearly had to change her course of direction. Oh, it didn't work with the old nipple twist. Maybe if I take it a bit more easy, he'll be more submissive towards me.
I'm really glad we came back to film that last snippet. You're welcome, everyone.
What did you make about that bra? It's like homemade to me.
Yeah, most of it was...
It wasn't even really a bra, it was more like a belly top.
Yeah.
Just another thing to make her look weird for no reason.
Yeah, it goes along with what I said at the beginning, that I think, the artistic style of it all was very cool.
Yeah, I did write a lot of stuff about candles, etc. Anything with candles in, I normally enjoy it. The raggedy places he was staying reminded me quite a lot of some heathen stuff, actually. So kudos to the New Zealand Film Commission. You know, if they're giving out more funds, then hello.
And now let's stop because I'm getting hangry.